And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. And you're all smiles this morning. Why?
I dig the vibe that Alex has laid out for us with the tunes. It kind of feels like a Sunday afternoon or something or other, kind of just an easy tone that kind of gets me going. So I'm ready to go. It means that we are going to be hot taking on a Wednesday.
Well, yesterday you were on fire on a lot of things.
Really?
So, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, about the Nuggets saying, you are disappointed. You're angry that they're wasting Nikola Jokic's years.
Well,
Those were your words, not mine.
I mean, well, I don't think I made the statement that they are. I think my statement was, I think that you can make the argument that that's the case at this point. Now, what they do from this point on, and it looks like Nikola Jokic will play tonight. He is listed as probable against the Milwaukee Bucks. What they do from this point forward will be the ultimate indicator of that. But that's the danger of where they are at this particular point. And I will say this, and I am firm on this. I am not sure that I see a path for the Nuggets to get out of the Western Conference. That's where I'm at.
I don't think you're...
Period.
Yeah. Hey, before we get going, I want to tell you about Sportsbook Bar and Grill. You can find them in Highlands Ranch. You can also find them in the DTC. Everybody has their favorite sports bar. This is where I love to go. Because it's close to my house. That makes it a neighborhood place. But it really is a place that has something for everyone now. When I started going, there was the location off of Arapahoe Road. And then they eventually opened one in Highlands Ranch. It does have everything. What do I mean? It's not just bar food, it's upscale food. They have 12 different burgers. One of their burgers is so good, actually. I can't remember what was on. I know it was like blue cheese, maybe like fig jam or something. I called one of the owners yesterday to see what is actually on that burger, because I made burgers last night and I actually wanted to make it at home. And I bought the brioche buns as well to duplicate it. That's how much I actually liked it. Now, when it comes to games, they have all the packages for all the major sports, but they are more than just that. They are big soccer fans. They have all the soccer games. Anything you want, they have. They do rugby. They do UFC. It's an unbelievable place to go. You should absolutely check out the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC, and they're opening soon in Parker. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it is one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue off 36th and Pecos.
It's amazing how much things can change in the span of 24 hours. 24 hours ago, everybody had Shedeur Sanders going to the New York Giants. In the last 24 hours, the Giants have signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal and Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal. With that, do you think these pair of signings is an indication that maybe the Giants, it's not that they're not interested in Shedeur Sanders, but maybe they don't think he's worth the number 3 overall pick?
Well, I mean, doesn't it boil down to a question of, do they have their future quarterback? I mean, is Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson really going to fill that role for the Giants? Can't you see a scenario where they continue to hedge their bets on the future by taking Shedeur Sanders, and then maybe Shedeur Sanders just wins the job? Here's the problem for me, Eric, with this scenario. You and I have been around Russell Wilson probably more than we care to admit for the 2 years that he was here in Denver. Right. But the fact of the matter is, Russell Wilson still thinks that he can play. And there is actual evidence to support that. He was 6-1 in his first 7 games out of the gate last year with Pittsburgh. Now, he faltered down the stretch, and the Steelers faltered down the stretch, and he reverted back to what we knew of him largely, at least in that first year here in Denver. I don't think that room's chemistry works with bringing Shedeur Sanders in and all of the fanfare that he brings, with Russell Wilson still very much of the mindset that he's the guy. So can I see the Giants doing it? Yeah, I guess to some degree the Giants aren't as dysfunctional, obviously, as the Jets across town in New York, but there's still a level of dysfunction. But I'm just not sure that works at all. I don't see that working. And in fact, I can see a scenario now where Shedeur Sanders slips to what, 9 or 10? I think 10 is where the Steelers are. And the Steelers at this particular point seem to be dancing a little bit with Aaron Rodgers, but their quarterback situation at this point is very tenuous.
Here, I'm going to ask you something because right now it is very far off the radar. And I want a quick answer.
Okay.
That's how far off the radar this is. So when I ask the question, I don't want to see a think bubble go up. I want a quick answer. Ready?
Go.
Who's going to be the number one pick in next year's draft? Quick.
Cam Ward.
Quick.
Cam Ward.
Next year's draft.
Oh, next year's
draft. Cam Ward. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly. Hey, Alex, who's going to be the number one pick in next year's draft? Quickly.
No idea.
You have no idea?
2026.
I do, and it's not on anybody's radar. Ready? Arch Manning. You really want to spend the number 3 overall pick on a quarterback, knowing that you're not going to draft Arch Manning for sure. It's a huge risk. A, that he has a great season at Texas. That's number one. And B, he comes out, and C, you're in position. But if you are not totally sure about a quarterback and you're taking a quarterback just to take a quarterback at number 3, and this is not a knock on Shedeur Sanders. Suck for luck. Remember that? How many times did that come out of people's mouths? And people look at Arch Manning potentially as a generational guy. So do I think the Jets potentially take, I don't know, Arch Manning or Shedeur Sanders? No. And here's the reason why. And there's a difference between the Giants and the Jets. The Giants GM and Brian Daboll are on the hot seat after last year's record, even though they were pretty good in their first year. They do need to find a quarterback, although maybe they can sell tomorrow their owner. Maybe we'll be bad enough to have the number 1 pick and potentially draft Arch Manning. But they need to win now. For Darren Moogie, who used to be the assistant GM here, who's now the GM with the Jets, he's got all kinds of time. He doesn't have to take any type of risk on any type of quarterback. He's got another year left. So suck is all get out. And if you have the number 1 pick, you get Arch Manning. But I also look at the Raiders in that view, in that lens as well. Pete Carroll's not going anywhere. Spytek, is that how you pronounce his name? Their new GM. He's not going anywhere. You don't have to take a quarterback in your first year as a GM/coach. The Giants are a little bit more desperate. So maybe they do go with Shedeur Sanders.
Let me ask you a question. Arch Manning, is he more of a pick of DNA than he is of demonstrated ability?
Well, in high school, he was fantastic.
Of course.
For the little that he did play for Texas, the folks in Austin could not run Quinn Ewers out of there fast enough. And if you remember, Texas was 5-7 before he took over. And then, he just led him to 2 consecutive college football playoff appearances.
You're talking about Quinn Ewers now. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on. Folks in Texas, Quinn Ewers is a Texas high school legend. He went to Ohio State a year early, meaning he graduated high school a year early to take advantage of NIL. And people in Texas were like, how can you leave our state? Well, he did. Texas was 5-7.
Yeah.
And then Ewers came back to join Sarkisian. And what did Ewers do? I don't know. Again, he led them to 2 consecutive college football playoff appearances following a 5-7 season. And they could not get him out of Austin fast enough and into the NFL draft so Arch Manning can play.
Yeah, but Arch Manning actually had opportunities to play with injuries to Ewers and wasn't didn't move the needle enough to take the job over. Here's my deal with Arch Manning, and I'm with you, Eric, on this. I mean, we understand the DNA. We understand the lineage. It makes perfect sense. The metrics are there, the size, the arm strength, all of those things. I mean, he's obviously a very good bet. There is no question about that. But in terms of what he has done to this point through 2 years of college, the answer is not a whole lot. Now, we'll see how he develops now.
Ewers. He's played behind Ewers,
Yeah,
who has led them to a lot of wins.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'll be interested to see how it all works. I'm betting on him.
Yep.
And I don't know about being the number one pick in the draft next year. Remains to be seen, but he would probably be a decent bet.
Okay, with that, getting back to Shedeur Sanders, I don't know exactly how you feel about him as a prospect, but with the number 1 overall pick, number 2 overall pick, number 3 overall pick, anything in the top 5, when you draft a quarterback with the first pick through the 5th pick, you are basically staking your career on a guy because you only get so many picks at quarterback in the draft as a GM. Would you be willing to stake your career on Shedeur Sanders? And what do I mean by that? If their GM, is it Joe Schoen or Joe Shine? I can't remember how to pronounce it. And Brian Daboll, they're already on the hot seat. If Shedeur Sanders does not pan out, they're gone. They're gone. So if you're them, are you willing to stake your career using this pick on him?
I think the Giants have already hedged their bets. I think the answer they have. I think the answer is no. I don't think that the Giants will pick Shedeur Sanders.
Wow.
And that doesn't mean that he's still not a top 10 pick. I laid out my scenario, and it's a hot take. It's a hot take scenario.
Not a hot take. Bruce, the Raiders need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. The Browns need a quarterback.
Absolutely.
All of them.
So,
and you can argue a few more teams.
But, I mean, if you're bringing in Russell Wilson and you've already got Jameis Winston in the backup kind of role, and he was used to it, obviously, a year ago in Cleveland, then I think that you are already playing your hand if you're the Giants. I just don't see that quarterback room working with Russell Wilson and Shedeur Sanders. Not the way that Russell Wilson still thinks about himself. Russell Wilson has not gone quietly into that dark night. Russell Wilson still wants to play in the bright of day.
I think the signing of Wilson and Winston says a lot of things, and all of them are up for interpretation, which is clearly my interpretation. Number one, they don't feel that Shedeur is ready to start day one. That's the first thing. Secondly, they want to bring in a couple of veterans to show him the way, leadership, all of that stuff. Not to suggest that Shedeur Sanders is not a very good leader in his own right. But I feel like they're cocooning him a little bit. They're wrapping him in bubble wrap a little bit, protecting him quite a bit with two veterans, 1 year deal, 2 year deal. And by the way, that 2 year deal for Jameis Winston, 2 years, $8 million.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham got 2 years, $12 million.
Yeah, Russ is only getting 10.5 guaranteed, even though there are enough incentives in his deal to get him to 21 million. Like I said, I don't think the dynamic. I'll ask you, Eric, do you think that Russell Wilson is into the mentoring time of his career right now?
More so than Joe Flacco.
Well done, my friend. Well,
Yes.
Well done. Yeah.
I think that Russell Wilson would, yes, absolutely help Shedeur Sanders. And I think Joe Flacco would mentor Shedeur Sanders. Want to know why? There's a reason. Because Dion will be all over Joe Flacco if he didn't. Because Shedeur would say to Dion, this guy is just treating me like garbage. He's not helping me out. And do you think for a minute that Deion Sanders is going to keep his mouth shut about that?
The role of Deion Sanders to me is the very interesting X factor. Is he
LeVar
going?
Ball, ladies and gentlemen. LeVar Ball 2.0.
I mean, is he going to continue to be an active participant to the point of distraction with Shedeur? Shedeur has already said things like, "Hey, this is my time. I love my time with Pop, but this is my time now." I'm not sure that Deion is ready to give that up. And to a degree, his experience and his leadership in that regard, I think, would continue to be very valuable. I mean, this guy, as we've talked about, I mean, when you start to talk about the greats of all time, Deion Sanders is in that conversation with what he did. So I think that dynamic is going to be very interesting. But I think that there are clubs out there that would be wary of that. Yes.
Okay, one more quick thing. The Giants are coming to Denver. So let's say they draft Shedeur Sanders. Who do you want to see starting? You want to see Russ or you want to see Shedeur?
I'm kind of past the Russ thing. He was here last year with the Steelers and, of course, got his time out on the field, warming up, knowing he wasn't going to play and all of that stuff. So we got lots of Russ and like
really, I thought running in the rain at practice.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah. But I mean, but there was very little reaction. I remember being so underwhelmed by the reaction from the Denver faithful on that day. But be that as it may, I think I'd rather see Shedeur. I want to see Shedeur Sanders get a chance to take over a team and lead them from Jump Street. I think that Shedeur Sanders is immensely talented. I do think that there are holes in the game, but how many rookies don't have some holes in the game, right? I mean, it takes a little time. Bo Nix had a tremendous rookie season, but there were some fits and starts through the first 3 weeks of the season, the first 4 weeks of the season. He got there quickly. Could Shedeur be that kind of guy? Could he be a fast track kind of guy? I have a lot of curiosity about the direction that he goes now, but I do think that he's a guy that can lead a team, and I think he's a guy that can be successful. I think he has very strong leadership tendencies. But you talk to those guys that played with him at CU.
Okay, so let me
wow.
Okay, let me ask you point blank. You have to make a prediction right now. Is he Hall of Fame worthy, Pro Bowl worthy, top 10 worthy, average, or a bust when his career is done? Now, a lot of it depends on where he goes. And listen, we are predicting way out into the future. It's hard enough to predict what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow, more or less what's going to happen when Shedeur Sanders decides to retire in 10 to 15 years.
Well, you'll be going to the Sportsbook Bar and Grill at Highlands Ranch or the DTC, one or the other, right? So there, we know we're able to predict that. We are able to predict that. I think that Shedeur Sanders is a potential Pro Bowl level quarterback, and I say that with a little bit of hesitation because it's putting the cart before the horse. But he throws for a very high percentage of completion rate. He does have the running dynamic in his game. I don't like it when he's running backwards as much as he does. He's got to get that figured out a little bit. But I do think that I see enough. I see enough from him to be probably somewhat bullish about his future.
Okay. What I'm about to say is going to sound negative about him. I'm going to play it off of what I saw and what he said. I'll start with the positives. He's a tremendous physical talent. He's got a terrific arm, great pedigree. I think he really knows how to play football at that position. Two things. I believe in the Sean Payton school of thought that a sack is as much on a quarterback as it is the offensive line. And all I keep hearing is, well, the Buffs offensive line was terrible last year. It was, or 2 years ago, whatever it was, his first year.
2 years ago, right? Yeah.
Okay. Getting sacked is about processor. It just is. And then he said recently, I think it might have been at the combine, he said, I played too much hero ball.
He did.
Playing hero ball combined with taking a lot of sacks is Russell Wilson. Now, I believe that Shedeur Sanders would love to have that career. However, Russell Wilson did play with a Hall of Fame caliber coach in Pete Carroll, with an unbelievable running back in Marshawn Lynch, and a all-world, all-class defense. I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is going to walk into that situation.
Here's my last take on Shedeur. I think that you just talked about the intelligence, the pedigree, I will add the IQ. I think he has football IQ. I really do.
His processor concerns me, Bruce.
That's fair enough.
Fast enough. That leads to sack.
I will say this. I think that his recognition and his admission that he plays hero ball, and that has to change at the next level, is for me as good a first step as you can take. Recognition of the problem, then the ability to work on it and to apply things to improve upon. Those are the things that I'm looking to see whether Shedeur can apply at the next level.
Coming up after the break, who is the Avs' most valuable player? Is it, I don't know, McFarland for making 9 trades at the deadline? Is it, I don't know, McFarland, but more specifically, the 2 goalies that they brought in that are playing at a high level? Or is it the guy that everybody might still be pissed off at, Val Nichushkin? Avs win again last night. We'll talk about that next.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Bronco Raptor or nearly $30,000 in cash the weekend of May 23rd. Get finalist entries from 10 a.m. until midnight during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes or by redeeming player points. And all daily cash drawings that don't get picked are eligible for a second chance drawing on Wednesdays, and that can turn into extra cash. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everybody has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. It's everything a sports bar should be. Upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game. NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. This is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue
back.
spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corned bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk about the Avalanche. They just keep on winning, beating the Red Wings last night. The Avs have now won 11 of their last 13 games. This includes a shootout loss, so that's 23 out of a possible 26 points. How confident do you feel about the Avs heading into the playoffs?
I don't know how the answer could be anything but very confident at this point. They have got, they're getting good play at the blue line. They're getting very good goalkeeping, regardless who is in, whichever one of the Woods is in there.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. You can't see the
What about
forest.
Miles? What about
Well,
Miles?
I mean,
He's been
sitting out a lot. I mean, but this roster is so ready for postseason hockey. It's healthy. It's deep. The concerns over the last couple of years with depth in the third and the fourth lines, I think, has been answered. Chris McFarland and Joe Sakic, to me, have done an absolutely beautiful job. Now, the proof will be in the pudding, obviously. We understand that. But my goodness, Eric, to be able to play at the level that they're playing right now with the distraction, and let's call it what it is, of all of these trades and changes in the roster, they basically have remade about half of the roster during the season, not in the off season, during the season. They've done it on the fly, which to me is a remarkable when you talk about their ability to understand this team and the chemistry that this team needs to play with, and to be able to pick and choose the right players without really knowing how they're going to mix, not just from a standpoint of how they play, but how they're going to be in the locker room. The vetting process that has been done by the front office is nothing short of remarkable.
I agree. Now, who is most responsible for this streak that they are on? 23 points out of a possible 26. Is it McFarland with making all of these trades, the 9 trades that he made to add more depth? Is it the 2 new goalkeepers? Now, I understand McFarland brought them in, but that feels like eons ago, doesn't it? Is it the goaltending that is the reason for this turnaround? Or is it Val Nichushkin, who, by the way, played his first game back since missing 22 games to start this streak?
Let's also give credit where it's due with Jared Bednar, who has mixed all of this up and made it work. But yes, from a standpoint, I mean, the great thing about where the Avs are is that you could throw darts across the board and make pretty good arguments. I mean, look at what Marty Netchus has provided for the Avs. Dude has come and basically, from the moment he stepped on the ice, has made everyone go, with all due respect, Mikko who? Obviously, you've got Nate McKinnon continuing to play at a Hart Trophy level, which he is the defending Hart Trophy winner and the leading scorer in the NHL again this year. You've got Cale Makar, who's going to be a Norris Trophy finalist at the very least again. You've got a bunch of guys, and not the least of which is Val, who we have talked about for years in different permutations of this show. What he brings to it, the size, the strength, the ability to redirect in front of the net, everything that he brings to this team, he is bringing right now in spades. But we're playing in the regular season. I don't want to hold my breath when we get to the postseason. And I know that seems like a distant memory now, but let's not forget the last 2 postseasons. And let's hope that everybody is moving forward in a positive way towards being available and part of the reason for this team's momentum in the postseason.
Okay, Bruce. That I say this with all due respect because you're my friend. That was a great answer to another question. I feel like you just gave me a 2-minute filibuster. So I'll go back to what the question was.
I don't think that Val Nichushkin is the
team?
MVP. I think the MVP is probably Chris McFarland. Chris McFarland, to me,
not only
yeah.
Okay. Not only is Val Nichushkin the MVP, if they win the cup instead of raising the cup, they should raise him. That's how valuable he is to this team. Period. Okay. He missed a whole bunch of games for more personal reasons. He comes back. They start on a 6-game winning streak. Now look at what they've done since. Won 11 of 13, yada, yada, yada. When he is on the ice, they win. When he is off the ice, they lose. Period. It's a fact. They don't lose every game, and they clearly don't win every game. Look at what the Avs look like with him on the ice and without him on the ice. And you just said it very well. Hold on a second. Hold on. You said the playoffs. Was he on the ice during those playoff runs? Nope.
No.
When's the last time he was on the ice during a playoff run, for the full playoff run?
Stanley Cup.
You got it. He is that value. He's not the best player. That's why I used to say, as you just said accurately, in different iterations of our time together as partners, right? Talking about radio. Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon are the two best players on this team. But when it comes to importance, I had zero doubt in ever saying that I'd rather have Val Nichushkin than Mikko Rantanen. Not a knock on Mikko Rantanen at all. When Val is on the ice, he plays power play. He plays penalty kill. Yep. He digs out pucks. He is that grinder that you need, who also scores. In his last 13 games since he's been back, remember, he's played 13 games since coming back. The Avs have won 11 of those. And oh, by the way, he has 8 goals and 5 assists in those games, not including all the pucks he has dug out of the corner, how many times he has stood in front of the net, how many times he has dove in front of a puck to block a shot. He is that valuable.
No question. I could not agree with you more. But the makeup of this team.
What?
The butt is the makeup of the team is more important than what Val Nichushkin has brought to the team. The makeup of the team is the key. And
the makeup of the team doesn't win without him. That's the problem. How much were they winning?
How much would they be winning with Georgiev still in net right now? Please don't give me that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. How many games did Nichushkin play with Georgiev on the ice before he got traded?
I don't know.
0. Now, I'm not saying it would have made Georgiev a better player. All I'm saying is, because Val didn't start the season, did he? Val started the season like in November. Georgiev was gone by then. I'm not saying that Val Nichushkin makes Georgiev a better player. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I'm saying is, Nichushkin, for all of his problems, personal problems, being able to stay on the ice, he brings the entire package together because he has such a unique skill that the Avs don't have. Actually, they do have it. He's just been out of the lineup for the last 2.5 years.
Well,
and that's Gabriel Landeskog.
Right.
They don't win. All you have to do is look at the Avs record with Nichushkin.
I know.
And without Nichushkin. And you can look at the Avs record with MacKinnon and without MacKinnon. And there's a wider gap between wins and losses with Nichushkin than there is with Makar and MacKinnon.
I think the building of the team on the fly, the way that they've reconstructed the team, Chris McFarland in particular, the trades that they've made, to me, is the biggest story for the Avs this season. Does it make him the MVP? He's not on the ice scoring. He's not on the ice being tough. He's not on the ice digging out pucks. I get that. But Chris McFarland's vision has given this team a chance to win a Stanley Cup. Whether or not that makes him an MVP or not, I'm willing to discuss. But to me, it's the biggest part of the Avs' prowess this season and the team that they have right now. They would not be in this position, even with Val Nichushkin, in my opinion, if the changes in the roster that hadn't been made in the wholesale way that they've been made.
There's no question he should be in the running for Executive of the Year.
There you go.
But MVP doesn't go to somebody who doesn't play. Just like Jared Bednar cannot win the MVP, no matter how
Right.
well he coaches. My only
Agreed.
point is when Val plays, the team seems to win. The team seems to win. When he doesn't play, they seem to lose. He brings such a huge component. And the funny thing is, I remember when he was going through all of his problems. Might still be for all we know. But when he was going through all of that stuff, well, we can't. How are the guys in the locker room going to react? Well, I got news for you. They don't have a vote in this, nor should they, because they don't win consistently enough without him to say we want him out of the locker room. Right?
Which underscores just how valuable he is, to your point.
Right.
Because I mean, he has. If you just look at the top of this story, he has burned virtually every bridge that one could burn with a locker room.
Right.
And yet
Right.
this locker room understands the importance and the prowess that this guy brings to the ice. You're absolutely right.
Right. So looking at the Avs and looking at their roommates in the Ball Arena, I think it is fair to say you feel better about the Avalanche moving further in the playoffs than the Nuggets.
How can
Right?
you not? Right.
However, no, unless it's the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round, which I don't think it is going to be. I pretty much bet against it. I think the Avs have a far more difficult first round matchup
They
with
do.
Dallas
Yep.
than whatever the Nuggets could draw up.
Right.
And that's a big concern.
Yeah.
And by the way, you have two guys who would love nothing more than to knock the Avs out in Mikko and Matt Duchene.
No
Not
question.
to say they have the ability to do it. I'm not saying that they can single-handedly do it. Matt Duchene isn't the player that he was. Mikko is still in his prime. But it is such a difficult first-round matchup for the Avs.
Yeah. There is a difference in who you feel better about going into the postseason and who you think can do the most damage in the postseason.
Right.
You are absolutely right. It's going to be Dallas. The question now is whether or not the Avs do enough to, and I don't think they can, quite frankly, in the time that remains, especially since Dallas has 2 games in hand on the Avs with a 3-point lead, and they don't have a face-to-face. So I think that they are going to be on the road in the first round to Dallas. But I will say this. I think the Avs have a stronger championship medal than the Denver Nuggets do. How that may play out remains to be seen. But in terms of the unit that I look at and say, I can see this team winning it all, I'm not there with the Nuggets. I am there with the Avs.
I want to put something into perspective. It is really, really hard to believe it has panned out this way. As we've talked about throughout this segment, the Avalanche have won 11 of their last 13 games. They have a shootout loss in there, which is still a point. Okay. The Stars have a 3-point lead over the Avs right now, despite this unbelievable streak that the Avalanche are currently on. And Dallas has 2 games in hand. It almost seems inconceivable that a team can go on that type of streak and still be 3 points behind, and the other team has 2 games in hand. Doesn't it? A little bit?
Yeah, it does, except when you look around the NHL, the teams at the top are all winning right now. It's just kind of how it seems to work. The good teams start flexing their muscle a little bit more consistently in an effort to be ready for the postseason. So the Washingtons, the Winnipegs, the Dallases, you could go on and on. Toronto to a lesser degree, perhaps. Those are the teams now that you look at and think, okay, they are starting to play at a higher level more consistently. So, yeah, I don't think that the Avs mathematically could catch Dallas. I don't think that they will.
All right, that is going to do it for us this morning, Bruce. Great job as always. I will try and do better tomorrow. Make it the best possible day you can. You've been watching Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl.